Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto. This is the morning technical analysis live show on YouTube for cryptocurrencies, where we cover everything latest on the technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and on-chain analysis for Bitcoin and crypto. And today we're going to talk about how Elon Musk and Charles Hoskinson could theoretically team up to create a Twitter plan B. Charles Hoskinson tweeted out recently that he would be perfectly willing to work with Elon Musk on an alternative to Twitter if Twitter does not sell to Elon Musk. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that story because some developments have been made on the legal side of Twitter trying to be bought by Elon Musk. And we're also going to talk about many other things, including the Bitcoin whales and how they are moving money off of exchanges. How will that affect the price? We're also going to talk about the options expiry that's coming in today here in exactly 1 hour. We're going to discuss what impact that may have on the price of Bitcoin. And we're also going to do some technical analysis on Bitcoin and the rest of your favorite projects. So guys, we got a great show lined up for you today. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a Good Friday. Oh wait, it is Good Friday. So shout out to everyone who celebrates Good Friday and Easter. I am joined as always by TA Tam. How you doing, Tam?
What's up, everybody? How about that Ethereum video last night?
Yeah, I was solid.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch it as soon as this show is up. Don't leave the show right now. Stay here. After
don't leave. Don't leave.
It's good stuff.
Was good stuff. T-Shroom wrote that video. Good job to T-Shroom. It's a
Love
solid video.
T-Shroom.
If you want to know where Ethereum is heading, I made a video on that last night. Tim, how are you doing, though? You didn't tell me.
I'm doing as good as that Ethereum video is, which is fantastic.
Oh, okay.
So go, again, after the stream, go watch the...
There you go.
Watch this video. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, perfect. Well, thank you guys so very much for doing that, but wait until the end of the stream. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit both of those notifications. Hit that notification bell. Hit all of those buttons down below. Make sure to follow us on social media. And I am also joined as, not always, but as today, by Kelly Kellum. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing great, man. I decided to flip my camera around, as you could see, because the wall behind me was just a little too plain. And now we got the live action with the doggies running around. We always had, my wife has a dog business, so we always have different dogs here. But now we can see the money tree. We see that it's green, it's flourishing, it's setting up that bullish sort of, what do you call it? Whatever the word is. It's setting up some bullishness with the market. But we got a lot to talk about today. The market's still, frustrating us as much as it can. But there's some signs there. There might be some things that are on the move. We got some great exchange data showing some whales are doing some really bullish movement. So I'm just happy to be here. Happy everybody's here with us.
Well,
smash that like button.
Kelly. You got a great looking apartment, my friend. It's beautiful back there. I like the angle. I like the charts behind you, and I definitely like the dog. What kind of dog is that?
A Frenchie, I believe. I don't know. We started
like a
watching it yesterday.
Hey,
she's a little Tasmanian devil.
Little Tasmanian devil.
That or it's one of the largest rats in all of New York City.
Yes, that's a big rat. That's a big rat. You got to be careful. It's New York City. I've never actually been to New York City. I want to go sometime. But before I go, I also have to introduce Smay. How are you doing, Smay?
Where are you going?
New York City. I don't know when. Might be tomorrow. Might be in 10 years. But I plan
Middle
on
of the
going.
show.
All right,
Middle
guys.
of the show.
All right. I'd like to take a moment to say that today is a good day, and that Ethereum video is the start of something new, and I'm so excited about it. You guys watch that Ethereum video, don't just think, oh, this is gonna be a one-off project they do. No, this is like the new standard, guys. I'm so excited. Like our videos are about to be so much better than they've ever been, and I'm so excited about it. But you know what I'm more excited about? I'm more excited about these green names. So I'm going to go ahead and hit you with some of them. We got Crypto Sec Guy. We got Elliot Locke. We got Matt C. We got Sultan of Salt. Who else we got here? We got Mike Markle. We got Groovy. We got Tom Wilkes. Jeepers. We've got Crypto JMP.
Jeepers. We got Crypto JMP.
Who else we got? We got Jeremy Shorter.
And
who else we got here?
Smay, have you ever seen a Goofy movie?
I'll do an Anakin one. We got Grand Roofing Incorporated.
Yeah.
And then
Can I do one? We got Dennis Pizarka. My name's Jordan Peterson. Or I might be.
No.
Kermit.
I got another one. You ready? Ooh, Pizarka Dennis it is.
Okay.
All right.
That was really
Back
good.
to you, Jebb.
Back to me. But for what? Oh, that's right. I'm hosting the show. Okay, guys, we got a lot to jump into today. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Today's show is brought to you by I Trust Capital. I Trust Capital. And if you are looking to get into cryptocurrency with your retirement accounts and set yourself up with a tax shelter that benefits you when you invest for the long term, I highly encourage you to get signed up with I Trust Capital. They have a 1% fee. Most similar products have 12% over in the traditional markets. It's very, very, very rare. In fact, I think it's completely impossible to find anything close to that low in cryptocurrency. They are the industry leader by a long shot and for a very good reason. They're also adding a lot of new features coming up relatively soon, so make sure to check out I Trust Capital if you have a retirement account and you want to invest with that tax shelter in crypto. It's a very good idea, I do believe. But we have a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and jump onto the chart. Right now, Bitcoin's trading at $40,000, and it's sad because we're going to talk about the HODL trophy a little bit later. We decided at 10:45, right? So I got time?
10:45. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be more like 10:55.
10:55?
10:55.
Okay, I thought it was 10:45. Why are we changing it?
We never said 10:45.
Oh, I thought it was 10:45.
No, this is the first time it's ever been a 10 o'clock or a 10 to 11 o'clock win. So it used to be 10:25, 5 minutes before the end of the show.
Okay. I thought it was 15 minutes before.
10:55. Yeah.
Right. Well, what we're talking about, if you don't know, we have something called the HODL trophy, which I am not sure whose desk it's on right now and
It's
where
out
it
on the
is.
floor next to you.
Oh, hey, I have it right here.
I won it last time.
Kelly won it last time, so I'm holding it
no
for
one
her.
here
Thank you
holds
very
it.
much, Kelly. Bitcoin needs to be above $40,250 for me to win said HODL trophy. Is that correct, Tim?
Yeah, it needs to be above
Yeah.
40,250. Which is again, that's $250. It can definitely get there.
It can get there. Come on,
it's not
guys.
there.
I need y'all to pump the price. If you had ever planned on buying Bitcoin, now's the time. Not financial advice. It's just a joke, but definitely help me out here because I'd love to win the HODL trophy.
The travesty of the HODL trophy, though, and
Yeah.
people, if you were here on Tuesday, you remember this. Jebb said live 42,000. Which means
No.
if that had been the case, everything over 40,000 would have been, he would have won by like right now if we were closed it right now. But he clarified, he thought he said 42,500. We gave it to him. We said you can have it, and it might just cost him.
It's just like trading. You got to pick your shots, and you have to take them confidently because when you flip flop, you end up on the bottom.
I thought I had said the same thing both times, but I hadn't. The stream proved it. Anyway, that's okay. That's all right. I don't need the most awesome trophy in the history of existence for a week anyway, I guess. Anywho, let's see. Ethereum's trading at $3,000. Tether trading at an astonishing $1. Never seen that price there before. Binance Coin sitting nearly at $420. Come on, we got to pump Binance Coin also. We'll get Elon Musk back in the space if something's sitting at $420. XRP sitting at 77 cents. Solana sitting at a nice crisp $100. Dono sitting at 95. Terra sitting at 80. Luna's had a pretty big drop over the last little while. It did just hit an all-time high 2 weeks ago, so big shout out to Luna. They recently passed, Tesla in their Bitcoin holdings. I think Tom Wilkes pointed that out in chat a couple days ago. Tesla, if I remember correctly, is about 40,726 Bitcoin. I might be wrong on that number. That's just a number I have in my head. And then it's around 40,000 though. Luna just passed that a couple days ago. They're sitting above 42,000. So they are now the second largest holder of Bitcoin behind the company MicroStrategy, not behind Michael Saylor. They're already ahead of Michael Saylor himself, but behind the company MicroStrategy sitting on 130,000 Bitcoin. That's a ridiculous sum of money, but Luna is well on his way to being the largest Bitcoin holder short of Satoshi Nakamoto. Avalanche sitting down 3%. Dogecoin sitting at 15 cents. It's really funny. I was talking to my banker yesterday, and he has a very, very sad story of a friend of his that put $30,000 in Doge when it was up closer to $1, when it was much higher than it is now. And my friend, he's not doing well. So we got to make sure we do our research. DYOR, do your own research, and make sure that you're getting into the right projects. Dogecoin is not a terrible thing to get into because it is the leader of the meme space and there is some value in that, but definitely don't go putting your life savings into it like that guy. Make sure you always invest less than you are able to lose. Make sure you're not investing too much. But let's go ahead and jump on over to Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is trading just below where I need it to be, sitting at $40,113. And there's quite a bit that we need to unpack right now. I'm going to do a basic, just kind of a briefing on what the market is doing right now. And then I want Tim to tell us a little bit about some of the more specifics. So what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin, I'm going to show you the daily chart, and I'll let him look at the shorter term time frames. What we're seeing on the daily chart right now is that we have a general uptrend here that we've been in for the last couple of months. Now, if we were to bring up Lux Algo like we talked about on yesterday's stream, what you're going to see is that we're technically ranging. You can see right here in the bottom right, it says the market state is ranging. That more or less means the market is trading sideways. But it's not exactly trading sideways. It is technically setting higher highs and higher lows. And it is technically also in a downtrend on the shorter term time frames and an uptrend on the longer term time frames. So it's not just straight up going sideways with equivalent highs and equivalent lows. It is actually in a trend. It's just a very flat trend. So that means that that Bitcoin is attempting to move to the upside, but it's having trouble. It's not able to really get the momentum and the strength behind it that it needs in a similar way to what we saw in July. In July of 2021, when Bitcoin kicked off a rally, pushed up to $42,000, it just kept going. It didn't need to have these major, massive drops like we've seen in the last 14 days. Instead, it was able to pull back for, a week, and then it bounced and kept rallying and set a major higher low. In this case right now, what I'm seeing on Bitcoin is that we've come down and we've set a new low at $39,000, where our previous low was at $37,600. It's only about 4% away, and that leads me to believe that yes, the bulls are in charge, but not by much. And then you get down to the shorter term time frames that I'm about to throw to Tim, and it kind of looks like we're setting up a head and shoulders pattern here. They could be pushing us lower. Tim, based on the sentiment, based on the interest in the space right now, because that's a fickle thing that's very important, and based on just everything that you're saying, do you think that we're about to break down below 38,700, one of those important levels, and set a new lower low? Yeah. Or are we going to be able to maintain this higher low? Even though it's not very strong, it is a higher low, and we'd like to do that.
I got some good news and some bad news for everybody. The good news is that when we see major adjustments to news stories, when we see new breaking things happening, things can change quickly. The bad news is the technicals at the moment are definitely on these smaller time frames, not giving us a lot of hope here and for an upside. Because on the daily chart, I'll go that real quick, just because all of that is still there. Jebb, we talked about this the other day, but we still have this bullish RSI divergence. We still have, if I pull up the Bollinger Bands, we still had just rejected off the bottom. It's opening up a little bit more, so there's room to go down there, but we did have a rejection there. We also, on the TD sequential, just had that 9 flash, and then we are printing right now a green 1 or a bullish 1. So this is good stuff here on the daily chart. However, when I come back down to the 4-hourly and I go down lower, we got a couple more problems. So the first thing I see right here, I told you guys, look at that green line right there. We talked about this yesterday. I wanted us to get above that green line to cancel out this bearish RSI divergence. We didn't get it. What am I talking about right here? See these peaks right here? This peak is actually, it's kind of flattish, but it's on its way up. The RSI is moving up. What is the price doing in that same timeline? It's going down. That is a continuation, a hidden bearish RSI divergence. That might have been what this warrant is right here, but I see no signs of it stopping. If anything, looking at the RSI, you guys see that yellow line right there. We don't talk about this very often, and so in case you guys haven't watched the show for a while, this yellow line, this update to RSI, is the 14-day moving average of the RSI. We just rejected off of it. That's one of the reasons it's so important, is it kind of helps to see. You guys see several times go back in history, we use it for support, for resistance. In this case, it looks like we're using it for resistance. Also, if I pull up the Bollinger Bands, we're sitting right now at the bottom side of the 24-hourly SMA. Again, we came up with green candles, we touched the line, and now that we've touched it, they're red candles. It looks like we're rejecting off of it. That is showing us to the downside. If I go down to the hourly chart, we get a little bit better of a picture. We're really kind of, the Bollinger Bands aren't huge. We're on the top side of it, but this kind of accumulation, this squeezing, is usually what happens before a breakout. A lot of signs are pointing to the downside. Again, good news. Fundamentals and news can change all this really quickly, but I'm just here to show you guys what the charts are saying. The same kind of thing is happening. Let me get rid of this red line right here. We had some bearish RSI divergence on a shorter time frame with that same peak. Again, prices kept moving up here while the RSI moved down. That kind of explains this. But that thing that we talked about, Jebb just mentioned, are we potentially, and this is a potential, I want to be very clear, it's not set in stone yet, are we setting up a head and shoulders pattern? This is the question mark right here, this right shoulder. We got a left shoulder. That's a pretty clean left shoulder. We got a nice looking head. This is actually, sadly, would be one of the prettier looking head and shoulders patterns or inverse head and shoulders patterns we've seen recently. But let's extrapolate what would happen if we did have this play out. This is our neckline right here. We're using right here because that's the cleaner part of the head. I go and measure from the top of the head, this top part right here, down to the neckline. Let me make it as straight as possible. There we go. It's not perfect, but good enough for government work. If I scroll down here, this gives us a price prediction of 37.8, 37.7. Somewhere in the region I did it earlier is 37.7. This would do, going back to the daily chart, we talked about the good news of what Bitcoin is doing right now, respecting this ascending level, this ascending zone of support. this head and shoulders pattern, if it confirms and if it plays out, would break it. And in that case, now we go back to something we talked about a long time ago. Is 35 or lower, potentially 30,000 in the cards? I think it's too early to say that for certain. We're going to talk about some different metrics. I know Kelly's going to have some stuff to say that might not be likely, but at the same time, you got to prepare yourself for anything. That's what we're seeing right now on the charts.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important that we pay close attention to these technicals and the fundamentals because, and also it's very important that we don't get overly biased in one direction and think, okay, well, the market's just doing great right now, so we're going to rally, or the market's doing terrible right now, so we're just going to crash. We have to weigh both of our options. Kelly, I want to hear your thoughts on which direction this market is going to go. Are we going to be able to hold above $40,000, or are we going to start dropping as a result of lack of interest in this market?
Well, and we'll pull up some metrics here in a bit showing, there's been a lot of whale movement that's been happening, and not only whale movement, but just huge exchange outflows. But I was looking at the chart yesterday and I saw something that's a little bit scarier. It's scary just when you're looking at specifically only the very short-term time frame. But if you zoom out a little bit from that, you see it actually ends up being incredibly bullish. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now to show you this sort of pattern fractal that outlines this. Now, this is our current chart right here. And this is basically I'm going to zoom out in a second, but this is when we crashed down in April, May, and we had the sideways action that then ended up springing up to, the next rally that went up to 68, 69K. But what I want you to notice here is where we're at right here, this comes up and we have this M top, which is this M top right here. And then this pulls back, which is right here. And then this rockets back to the upside right here, pulls way back right here. And then it kind of comes up, pulls back, same thing right here, rejects off the top, holds at the bottom here on the support, which is exactly where we're at right now. And then this is why it gets a little scary, because then the price actually goes down and builds that final spring over the next, June, basically over the next month. We dropped and scared the life out of everybody. And then it just went up and away from there. So it is a little scary when we look at it in this respect. But when we're looking at the open interest, and other things like that, it makes sense because the markets, people keep trying to get that ultimate bottom and then long with 50x leverage and 25x leverage. And then essentially you're providing liquidity, you're providing Bitcoin and your assets to these other people that are a lot more risk managed traders that are looking. It's basically like, it's called stop hunting, where they're seeing all this liquidity on the order books where people are a little too excited about where the price is at. And they're trying to get that ultimate bottom. And then what they do is they push it up, like I just showed, and then it comes back down. It's liquidating longs, then liquidating shorts, and then liquidating longs until the market gets to that point of like ultimate max pain, despair. So this very much could be in the cards. However, last night when we were speaking on Crypto Answered on Twitter Spaces, with Plan C, we had Tech Dev, TXMC, and Jesse Olson, all these guys, and Crypto Vet as well. Everybody agreed that it's there's a lot of floor models that are suggesting that 27 to 33K could be the bottom. Some people thought the bottom could have already been in, but the thing is, we have to trade and invest right now. If you're not just set up on an automatic DCA, which is the smartest thing to do, if you're actually trying to time targets to enter, right now is just sideways and unconfirmed direction. So it's smart for any trades that you make. I highly recommend reserving yourself and not doing any leverage in these positions until we get a confirmed direction, because we have no confirmed direction. We very well could break down and go into an extended bear market from here, but we also very well could hit that spring and then launch up into that final leg. I don't want to say final leg, because I think it's going to be like Willie Woo said, where it's not these massive downturns and massive upsides, but periods of upward movement and then pullbacks of 40 to 60%, 50% about, and then upward again. So I think we are going to get another leg up. But again, this is all so contingent on what's happening on the geopolitical stage. So right now is the time to trade safe and place your trades with good risk management.
Absolutely, and I think that's it. I think that's the biggest point right now in these ranging markets. We are technically in an uptrend, but it's so weak that we can also call it a range. Bitcoin can really do a whole lot from here. It's basically let's not forget that this uptrend that we've been in since January, is also a gigantic bear flag pointing at $20,000. So there are two narratives going on here, and we can't overemphasize one or the other. We have to make sure that we provide both of them a chance to speak. You have to make sure that you are balancing both options and understanding that either faction can take charge. And if we forget that, then we're going to run into a lot of trouble. But really quickly, I want to bring up a longer-term metric that Michael, I believe it was, talked about in chat. It's not a metric, excuse me, it's a trend line. And then we're going to jump into some super chats here in about 5 minutes. He called it the legacy trend line. I've never heard it called that, but that makes a lot of sense. Tim, I want to talk to you about this. In a second, you'll be able to see my screen. Can you see my screen?
I can see you. Yeah, do Zoom. I can see it right now.
So you're familiar with this trend line, right? Yeah. You remember this trend line. He called it the legacy trend line. I think this is the trend line he's talking about. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what he means.
Yeah.
This is a very powerful trend that I have been using for the last 3 years. I remember when the market dropped down to this level to $3,000 in January of 19. I remember drawing this trend line based on price action back here in 2015, and then we figured out what the angle was on this market. You can see during the pandemic drop where Bitcoin dropped 50% in the span of a day, we dropped massively below this and then fought our way to getting back up above it. After we confidently were above that line, then we took off like a rocket ship. Right now, and over the last 4 months, we have been riding this line, and Michael's question is something to the effect of, are we going to manage to hold this line, or are we going to drop below it in a big way, and what happens if we do? So, Tim, what do you think about the legacy trend line, and do you think that we are going to drop below it in a huge way, and that's going to lead into an extended bear market, or do you think we're going to bounce off of it and hold it like we always have, or do you think it's just not that big of a deal and it's something that we shouldn't pay attention to?
So you're starting to get into, you don't need to go to my screen, Smay. I'm just going to talk through this. You're starting to get into a zone where TA is an art form. There's another line that we used a long time ago that had it actually rooted itself in the base point of what we just saw last summer of 2021. There's a lot of lines, and you could call them spider lines, you can call them whatever. TA is an art form. I also think using that has a lot of historical data. It's been used a lot for support. It briefly comes down, breaks below it, goes back up. Here's what you need to remember, though, about the market is just because something has happened in the past doesn't mean it's 100% going to continue. I do think at some point, Bitcoin was kind of getting off its feet. It was going, it exploded. There's going to be a point where it's got so much adoption, so much use case that those lines get defunct. Like that's the whole concept of people saying the cycle. Like people have been talking about when a bull market's going to happen, when a bear market's going to happen, based off the cycles that we've seen. There's going to be a time, whether it's right now or in the future, where those cycles are debunked. They no longer work. So I think that just like everything else in technical analysis, do not use this one metric and say, well, I'm going to make a prediction off of that. I don't even really like making predictions based off of 2 metrics. It's when I start seeing 3, 4, 5, when I see the news start to confirm what you're seeing happen in the charts. Because that's the real big thing, is technical analysis without any news or any fundamental thought is not the right way to go. Technical analysis, in light of what's happening in the news and fundamental analysis, is actually the confirmation you need. So I think there's a lot at play here that I would give weight to that line. I think that's a line that you should be considering and looking at. But anyone who's saying, well, that's the line, this is what it's done in the past, so automatically it must do this. Rules are meant to be broken, especially in technical analysis. The art of technical analysis is knowing when being able to look at other things to say, all right, this time this is not going to play out. This time it is going to play out. And again, don't use technical analysis as a crutch to not follow the news as well.
Absolutely. And technical analysis is the art, not the science, of identifying trends so that we can look at what the market has done in the past, so that we can predict what the market may do in the future, so that we're better able to understand how to trade and profit in those markets. That's basically the long and the short of how I define technical analysis. So make sure that you guys understand technical analysis, and the way that you can do that is by checking out Club DeFi. See what I did there?
I wanted to show one more thing as well that could be incredibly explosive for the market, and it just depends on what happens with the global markets at large. But that's looking right here. Somebody just reminded me in chat. This is the Dixie, and the Dixie is essentially the dollar index, and the dollar index is important because it has a very strong inverse correlation with the market direction. So if you look right here. This point right here is basically 2017. I'm going to make this a little bit brighter so you can see it. 2017 to to 2018 bull market. Look at this. This is when the Dixie was falling, and then this right here was basically the 2020 bull run right here. So this is while the Dixie was falling, and we're coming up right now. And depending on how you draw this trend line, whether you're doing it directly at the top of the wick or on the candle body, we're somewhere in that region. That it doesn't mean that Dixie's going to get rejected here and break down and start another bull run. But looking at this correlation is definitely something, as we're talking about the upside and the downside a second ago, this is something that is definitely worth watching, in conjunction with, this metric showing, and I mentioned this before, this huge outflow that we're having, this outflow that's coming right here, where it's like very, very accelerated and growing, just like here. And this basically preceded this huge bull run. This right here preceded this huge bull run. And we've done the same thing with a massive amount of outflows, something like 45,000 Bitcoin have come off in this downtrend in March. So there are a lot of things. And this is why, as you said, TA is an art form, and there's TXMC mentioned it last night on Crypto Answered. One of the things that's an issue right now is the absolutely overwhelming amount of data that we have available to us right now. And so sometimes we can get paralysis by analysis, trying to look at too many things. So you need to sort of focus on what your strategy is and what's worked for you. And if it hasn't worked for you, what you can change, because there's so much data that if you're a bear shows that we're going to go absolute to the downside. But there's also so much data if you're a bull that shows we're absolutely going to rocket to the upside. My sort of viewpoint on it is, if the trend is your friend into the end, well, we're in a very macro bull setup right now. And so the likelihood of a small pullback is sort of irrelevant to the upside that's going to come from it. So I do think we very well likely could get a wick down, but I don't think it's going to be a sustained downtrend from here because of all these other bullish metrics that are showing that we're setting up for a very bullish sort of maybe third quarter and fourth quarter of this year.
Boom. Well, there you go, guys. That was some great analysis by Kelly and Tim. Thank you guys so very much for all of that. By the way, Lane Hughes, I do not mind giving you a shout out on stream. Shout out to you, my friend. Welcome to the stream, and thank you very much for tuning in. Love y'all. Love all of our subscribers, and we're very glad you're here. Let's go ahead and read some super chats that you guys have been so donacious. So gracious to give. Can you tell I'm running on a little sleep? So gracious to give. And then we will move on to some news having to do with Charles Hoskinson and Elon Musk potentially partnering to make a competitor to Twitter. We'll see what happens with that. Let's go.
CryptoSec guy said Bitcoin 2023 tickets are on sale for $250.
Wait, really?
This is a steal, since they were about $800 just for the conference. Actually, there were some that were like $1,000.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
already got mine. So yeah, if anyone's looking to get tickets cheap, good shout out there, CryptoSec.
There you go, definitely.
Jeffrey, we know him as Jeffrey. Tim's troll. Grand
Who likes pineapple on pizza? Yeah. That's how we know you're wrong. Hang on. I'm sorry. I got to tell you this. I was at a real estate agent's office yesterday, and they asked us the question, do you like pineapple on pizza? And we said, no, absolutely not. And he said, that's interesting, because I can tell you what kind of house you want based on how you like your pizza. And we said, oh, really? What kind of house does somebody that likes pineapple on pizza like? And he said, you like a lot of color. And I thought that was hilarious. I just had to share that. That was pretty funny.
All right. Let's see here. Grand Roofing Incorporated said, friendly heads up. Keep a close eye on all of your accounts and email server bank cards and accounts. A lot of people being hacked and compromised recently.
Yeah, you do have to be careful with that. That's the internet when you don't have scarcity. Oh, wait, look at that. Blockchain technology can fix that. Thank you very much, Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, and all these other projects, because scamming and phishing is a lot harder if you had digitally verifiable identity. But we don't have that on the internet because there is no such thing as digital scarcity outside of the blockchain industry. So let's continue investing in Bitcoin and crypto, because it doesn't just solve problems of finance. It also solves problems of, societal rules and regulations online, I suppose you could say.
Can we take that moment also for anybody watching to take a second? If you're following any of us on Twitter, you can, or Twitter or Instagram, any of our socials, go down to the description section of this video and double check that you're following the correct, because like myself, I have at least 15 fake accounts that clone my account and repost the same. So it looks like my account with Kellum with a .am, Kellum with 3L, and same with Crypto Jebb. There's probably 65 different fake accounts. So take this moment and make sure you're following the correct page, because we don't want any of you to get fished by somebody that's posing as us.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right.
We got one right here from Oreo357 saying Cypher has a blood diamond on the weekly. How much significance would you put on that? We talked about that a little bit the other day, but Jebb, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay, so the thing about the blood diamond is that, yes, it showed up, but a lot of people are trying to trade off of one metric, and this is something I've warned people against for my entire career here on YouTube. If you trade based off of one metric, it's oftentimes going to lead to trouble. That's not to say that one metric can't be ridiculously powerful. That's not to say that one metric on its own can't make the entire case for a trend reversal. There can be one metric that precedes all the others, and maybe the blood diamond's doing that. However, I would look for some more confirmation. Even with Lux Algo, I don't just use the buy and the sell signals. I let other parts of Lux Algo confirm Lux Algo, and then I'll actually normally go in even deeper, and I'll look for several other confirmations. I'll look at the RSI, I'll look at the MACD, I'll look at maybe market cipher, I'll look at volume, 20 exponential moving average, TD sequential, candlestick formations, Bollinger Bands, name it, you see it, you confirm it with multiple things. So yes, there's a blood diamond on the weekly. It's the first time in history. That being said, market cipher has not existed for the entire history of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It can do back analysis, and it's extrapolated back. And I'm not saying that market cipher is a bad product. I actually really like market cipher. The thing is, though, a lot of people want to trade based off of that one metric because, oh my gosh, it's a blood diamond. It's called a blood diamond. It must be terrible. It's bearish, but don't put all of the stock, or maybe I should say all of the Bitcoin in the world in it. Just don't overemphasize one technical indicator and forget about everything else. Now, there are other things that are pointing bearish, and if you make the argument, okay, I think we're going bearish and the blood diamond is part of it, then great. That's a sound argument potentially. But if you just say, okay, there's a blood diamond, we're going to crash, just be careful with that.
Yeah.
Hey, also, just like any indicator, you have to wait until the candles close in order to say that indication is valid anyway. So that the week's not closed yet. So it's indicating, of course, we're having bearishness this week. But we all know, anybody that's been in this in the market for more than 3 months will know that sometimes, even on our hodl battle that we do every week, sometimes somebody will be winning in the morning, and then by the time the stream happens, the price is up $8,000, and every indicator that we had completely flipped in that time frame. So you have to wait for that time period to close for that indication to be something that you really take into full consideration.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right.
Let's go ahead and transition to the next segment.
Well, let's do it. So as you guys know, Elon Musk offered to take Tesla private at $420 a share. Oh, I'm sorry. That was 3 years ago's news. Take Twitter private at $54.20 a share not long ago. He filed with the SEC making that offer. And recently, some news has come out that Charles Hoskinson said this. Jump onto my screen. Charles Hoskinson said yesterday at 4:44 p.m., 4:48, Elon, if Twitter rejects your offer, then hit me up. Happy to build a decentralized one. So this is Charles Hoskinson, the same Charles Hoskinson that we did an interview with. Very, very, very intelligent guy. And he is basically telling Elon Musk, hey, look, I can do the tech, you can do the funding, let's go do this, and we will build a decentralized Twitter. The question on the floor right now is, one, is Elon Musk going to get into a legal battle with Twitter because he's offering to buy it, and Twitter, the company, is trying to reject that ability for him to buy from other stakeholders? Is there going to be a legal battle there? And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And two, if Elon Musk doesn't do that, is he actually serious about trying to build a second competitor to Twitter that's a more decentralized, more free speech type of platform? Because I don't know about you guys, and we can open the discussion with this. I actually think Elon Musk is dead serious. I think he is completely serious. I think he would literally spend $42 billion to buy Twitter. I actually want to throw it to Smay first on this one. Do you agree with that? Do you think he's serious in this, or is this a meme? Or do you think this is a meme that's going to turn serious like Dogecoin? What do you make of Elon Musk's SEC filing?
Well, I mean, it's exactly what we discussed yesterday. I think it's exactly I think he's being dead serious as well, because just like with his other companies, right? SpaceX is advancing human civilization in terms of space travel. Tesla is trying to optimize the way that we're using energy in terms of our out here on Earth. On the way we drive our cars and the solar panels and stuff like that. Then Elon Musk is a guy who builds companies that change the world. That's what he wants to do. That's what he started with PayPal and so on. So this is very much so another step in exactly what he's trying to do, is now he's trying to take on this social media space, which has been kind of this headache for the world right now. It's been this thing that's like, there's not really a good social media platform anymore. There's so much censorship. There's so much, all these different things. And there's not a really good town square for people to be online and just be themselves. And now I think that is now where Elon is coming to tackle that. And he says, well, why start from scratch? Because you could argue, well, why doesn't he spend all that money and just start his own company, right? Well, Twitter's already got the user base. Twitter's already got the systems to be able to do it. Why not just buy Twitter and then have everything you need right off the bat? You don't have any time of you don't have to do brain awareness. You don't have to get people on your platform. You don't have to do anything like that. You're just ready to go off to the races. So ultimately, I think he's dead serious, and that's why he's wanting to turn Twitter into this platform that's going to be able to serve this purpose instead of trying to build something from scratch.
Well, I completely agree with you. Speaking from the perspective of somebody who has built a company from 0 to 16 employees, and by the way, that's not me. All glory to God on that. I'm very blessed to that, but I've walked through that. It is not easy to build a company the size of ours, let alone a company like Twitter that has 7,500 employees, that has a 10-year track record, that has, hundreds of millions of users. $40 billion is not enough to rebuild that. You think $40 billion is an infinite amount of money? No, that's a finite amount of money. It's getting lower as inflation happens. If he were to try to build a competitor to Twitter, quite frankly, he probably would never get that thing to be bigger than Twitter. He really wouldn't. And he'd have millions of people transition over, but he'd have 500 million people on the platform if he just bought it. So I do think that he is serious, and I do think that this is something that will probably end up happening unless Elon Musk decides to change his mind. But Tim, let me ask you this. Do you think he is actually open to building a secondary platform if he does not get his way with Twitter? Yeah. And if he does, do you think he would ever take up Charles Hoskinson's offer, or would he just do it on his own?
So I have two thoughts that I want to unpack here. The first one is I haven't seen him get involved, and when I say he, I mean Elon, get involved with Cardano. I've never seen him go against Cardano and Charles, but I've also never seen him kind of engage with them before. Yeah. This one's interesting, though. This one's really interesting because we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Again, this is the confirmation of the discussion we had yesterday of Elon. How serious is Elon about actually doing this? This is almost the complete confirmation, going on the TED interview and saying, I will have a plan B. If I don't go through with this, I will have a plan B. Why? Why is Elon wanting to do this? What are his motivations? His motivations are he is tired of seeing restricted speech. He wants to see an opening of that. He wants to see free speech. He wants people to express themselves. He wants to, again, this is another form. We talked about, we're talking about Twitter. This is a crypto channel. Why is it so crucial? Because why is crypto so massive and why do people love it so much? It's the decentralization of the whole ordeal. What Elon is talking about, even though he wants to own this company, is he wants there to be this feel of people can do whatever they want and without the consequences. Who is another person that has that same fight against the centralized systems, against the people that are cancel culture, who are trying to quiet people? That's Charles Hoskinson. His why and what he's doing with Cardano, I think matches very, very well with the why Elon Musk is doing a lot of different things he does. So could this be the opening gates to a relationship between them? But here's what we do have to back up and even start with this. We don't know if there's even going to need to be a plan B, because this is the cool story right now. If Twitter denies him, all right, fine, he's going to go do it somewhere else. That's kind of what we talked about a little bit yesterday. We actually, in the show on Saturday, the Between Two Coins, you're going to see it tomorrow. We talked a little bit about this with Nick Dye. But my point here is, let's not get ahead and start planning on plan B, because plan A has not failed. I was actually watching an episode of Pomp the other day. I got the best business show on, I don't know. He calls it something. I was watching. He had a lawyer on there, a guy who knows fiduciary law. I'm going to preface this by saying I do not know fiduciary law, but I was listening to him talk about, because this is a public company, if Twitter refuses to sell at this level, all right, maybe nothing happens yet, but if Elon really wants it, Elon's going to up his bid, maybe go up to 50 billion. And so right now he's at 42, something like that. Yeah. Go up to 50 billion. Are they going to deny it then? All right, we're starting to get into some grounds where stockholders have the right to sue Twitter over refusing to sell. There's actually a case, it's really boiling down to Elon will get Twitter if he's willing to spend all the money he wants on it, or there's going to be a massive lawsuit. So I think that Twitter, if I had to bet, if I were to put odds on, is Elon going to own Twitter or is Elon going to go plan B? I think the odds are on he's going to get Twitter.
I agree.
Because A, there's going to be a massive lawsuit if that doesn't happen. And again, I don't know fiduciary law. Do your own research on it. But again, someone who did know what he was talking about that. The second thing is, let's say Twitter does refuse it. Let's say they avoid the lawsuits. You're telling me those stockholders are okay with this, knowing he's about to go plan B and they're going to lose all their money because it's going to compete with Twitter? No, that's not going to happen. I think Elon is going to eventually own Twitter. It might be months of drawn out negotiation and debate and fight, but I just think the writing is on the wall. Elon is going to get his hands on Twitter. He's going to end up turning this a private company. That's where I'm putting the odds on right now.
The reason that this is important and the reason this relates to cryptocurrency is because one of the foundational principles of crypto, of Bitcoin, and therefore the rest of crypto, was this concept of immutability. Bitcoin cannot be censored. It cannot be muted. It cannot be stopped because of its decentralized nature. It's laughable when countries around the world want to ban Bitcoin because for the first time in history, maybe not the first time in history, but in the most powerful way in history, I'll say that, except the laws of physics, we now have a force of nature that is beyond the grasp of the legal system to control. Bitcoin is fully immutable. You cannot stop it. It is a virus. It is a Trojan horse that will get everywhere. You can shut down every single node but one, and you could build the entire network again. You'd have to destroy every single computer on the face of the planet, and somebody could still print out on paper the transaction history and the blockchain history of Bitcoin, and the network would persevere. It is completely and totally immutable. And immutability is the exact same thing as freedom of speech. Let me make my case. I made this yesterday. This is just a reminder, and I'm going to keep reminding you of this because when we talk about freedom of speech on this channel, it's because we believe very strongly in it as a foundation of modern society, in the societal sovereignty movement, which we care about, but we've mainly focused on financial sovereignty. Freedom of speech is immutability of your words. Bitcoin is immutability of a currency, of an asset class, of finance. It's financial immutability. Freedom of speech is social immutability. Now, what you have to understand is that those are the exact same concept. And if we're going to talk about the importance of immutability in Bitcoin, then we cannot ignore the importance of immutability elsewhere. I think it's very important that you have immutability in freedom of speech and let the society grow in the way that it will. That's very, very important. That's the reason that is in not the second, not the third, not the fourth, but the First Amendment of the United States, which founded the entire modern free world. Freedom of speech is under attack in this modern world, and that is very dangerous. So I hope that Elon Musk does buy Twitter, and I hope that he does make it into a platform for freedom of speech. However, there is a very serious concern, and I'm going to try and figure out who said this. Somebody said this in chat, and I want to give them credit where credit is due. Tell me in chat who said this, but somebody said that that there is a very serious conflict of interest. The richest man in the world owning one of the largest social media platforms in the world. He's claiming to have free speech, but could he be the new dictator that comes in and promises the world, and then he ends up being just as bad as the guy he overthrew? Kelly, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Where's Kelly? Did he get censored?
He got censored.
He's on Twitter.
There we go.
Censoring myself. No, the delivery man was ringing the bell, so I had to mute the mic. No, I mean, I don't know if it would be so much so that he would come in and be a dictator, but my dad made a great point the other day. Regardless of what your politics are, even when Trump was censored 2 years ago or whenever it was, and removed, it's like the Ayatollah Khomeini still has a Twitter account, and among a lot of other people that regardless of what your state politics are here in the U.S., would completely destroy your argument about why Trump should have been censored, right? So, that's interesting. But what's most interesting to me about all this is this tweet yesterday that came out from Zero Hedge. I couldn't find it on the Twitter, so I just pulled it up on Reddit. But Goldman Sachs is stepping in against trying to block this deal with Elon Musk, and it's interesting. It's kind of shining light on their practices because they said the $54.20 offer was too low, but they have a sell rating on it right now with the price target down at $30. So how can they go about that kind of illuminates not only the Twitter debacle, but just traditional markets at large and the amount of bank manipulation that goes in any consideration with any of these things. So I think at the end of the day, Elon Musk put out a poll on his page, and regardless of if it's skewed because they're his followers, I think it's more accurate than not, and that is that should shareholders have the right to make the decision whether they're taken over or not? Why is it the board? And that's a great point. So it's going to be interesting whichever way this shakes out, how this goes, and if it doesn't shake out, it's going to be very interesting to see how Elon sort of approaches his answer to being denied.
It's definitely going to be very interesting. And actually, I have an article up here over on money.cnn. You can see here, these are the top 10 owners of Twitter and also the top 10 mutual funds holding Twitter. You can see that this is where the actual ownership of Twitter is. So what we're seeing here is that the board at Twitter is trying to say, hey, no, you can't sell to Elon Musk. That's not going to get them very far, because eventually it is just going to come down to the fact that, hey, none of your business who I sell your stock to, because it's a publicly traded company. And like Tim said, there could be there very well could be lawsuits there. Vanguard Group owns 8.39%. Morgan Stanley, that you were just talking about, owns 8.8%. BlackRock owns 4.56%. SSGA Funds Management owns 4.5%. I'm not familiar with that. ARK Investment owns 2.1%. I did not know that ARK Invest owned 2% of Twitter. That's very interesting. That's a $600 million portfolio right there. Good for them. Aristotle owns 2.54%. Fidelity owns 2%, etc. These are obviously mostly brokerages and investment firms. So it's actually a lot of it's individuals that own stocks through these companies. But we also see up here, mutual fund holders make up 40% of the owners. Other institutions make up 37%, and then 12% are individual stakeholders. Elon Musk could probably very easily, even if the board fought him on it, get over 50.1%, and he would have voting power. He would have more or less unilateral voting power, and then he would be able to overturn that decision anyway. So that would be a very big deal if he was able to do that. End of the point, and the end of it is that if he wants Twitter, he will get Twitter. It really is just that simple. Yeah. The question comes down to how much does he want it, and is he actually trying to move in the direction of saying, hey, this is the next way that I want to impact society? Because that is true. That is his track record. As Smay said, he wants to make major impacts onto society. And also, as Smay said, the world of social media is colossally screwed up, and I think most of it has to do with the fact that there's not digital scarcity. That's one of the reasons I love Bitcoin and crypto. I think bringing blockchain technology to social media would actually very much help in the fight against censorship, and also help in the fight against scamming, because it would provide that digital scarcity, and it would provide basically physical laws into the world of crypto. So I think it would be a very good thing.
Last thing I want to say about it. This is where you're almost going to get into a debate of ethics and morality and everything else, because the concept of, should Elon, would that be a conflict of interest for the richest man in the world to own this? Good people can become evil. And I'm not calling Elon good, but I'm saying absolutely, power can pollute. It can be terrible. But there's this line of saying, all right, we don't want to censor people. We don't want to stop people. The whole point of the United States was that you could go from nothing to a lot. You can make yourself whatever you could make yourself into. And now you're starting to point, where's that line that we start punishing people for having too much money? Where's that line that we start shutting off and saying, nope, you're not allowed to do this? Because the precedence of saying you're not allowed to do this is the same precedence to use down to the lower guy and say, nope, you're not allowed to do this. Why? Because I say so.
That's right.
And it's one of these things that we're starting to get into this wrestle point with. Believe me, I understand that argument. I understand oh my gosh, how dangerous could it be if Elon Musk, it seems like he fluctuates, one of the richest man in the world owned this. To be fair though, I think someone did point out, there's massive institutions or people that own newspapers, and they kind of control it. Yeah. Why should we dock? It's just one thing. Why should we dock any individual from doing what they have built and are able to do?
Absolutely.
And again, I know that's a wormhole. I know there's a lot of debate that come out of that, and it's good debate. But at the same point, if you're worried about people taking too much power and too much control, guess what? One of the solutions to that is decentralized finance. Mm-hmm. Go read the Bitcoin standard. I'm about to start reading the fiat standard, where it dives into that exact problem with how the world works, is that without a solid money, without the backing of gold that we had for thousands of years, we need something else taking place, or the corruption like that will continue to happen. Bitcoin levels the playing field. It doesn't make everyone the same amount of wealth. It allows people to have an equal playing field, to create wealth, to create power, to have and to do what they want to do with their life.
We have a very good question in chat. Yeah. John Doe. I don't know who he is. His name's John Doe. Who is he? I don't know.
Anonymous.
His name's John Doe. He says, actually, I'm sorry. It wasn't John Doe. It was actually the guy above him, Nicholas Bates. Said, how does Tim always wear hoodies in Florida?
It's a superpower, really.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
There's
It is cold. It is
I
cold
say
in
the
that
AC's
office.
flowing in here, so.
It is. It is pretty cold in this office. That's why I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and read some super chats. That was great, Tim.
Yeah, we got we're gonna look at someone just a minute in chat. Look at the price. Jeb,
I know.
your price prediction didn't fail you.
Oh, it bumped like $800.
And we're gonna talk about this here in just a second. So just by the way, we didn't get to talk about this. It's not going to be, the Bears are going to win the option expiry happening here in 10 minutes. They're going to win it. But if we can get above 41,000, that'll limit the damage. So right now as it stands, I think, I can't remember the exact numbers. There's an article here that talks about it. We'll discuss that here in a little bit after Super Chats, though. 11 o'clock is the time, though. Option expiry happens. Let's watch that price of Bitcoin. Can it get to 41,000? It's bigger than just the HODL trophy. It'll help limit the Bears' control of what the current market.
Yeah.
Coinfather, though, said, he said this earlier, but we didn't get to read it earlier. I love this show. Jeb, Tim, Smay, Kelly, keep up the great work.
Aw,
you all
thank
do
you.
such a wonderful job of bringing great content and news in the digital asset space. Have a wonderful Easter with your family. Thank you so much, Coinfather.
Thank you very much. I agree.
You as well.
Thank you very
And
much.
everybody out there, have a great weekend. Mike Markle said, would love to see Elon hook up with Charles. What a pair that would be. Just wanted to say, hey, haven't been able to catch a live stream recently. Love and respect the team. We love you, Mike. By the way, I've gotten to talk with Mike on a couple different occasions. Love that guy. Go follow him on Twitter. I don't know. I think his handle is probably just Mike Markle. I don't know. Brad Geidel, who's been a member for 7 months now, I think he got it fixed because he also donated later. Said he's been a Jebb Youngling for 7 months. Said I'm trying to send a super chat, but keeps telling me to try again. And then I think it ended up working because the next one he was able to give and just wanted to send his thanks and support.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. It was a pleasure to meet you down at Bitcoin 2022, and it was a pleasure to have you at the office. You came by the office on, what was it, Tuesday? Was it Tuesday? Or was it Thursday? It was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. I'm sorry. Gosh, this week has gone by fast. Thank you so very much for coming by the office, Brad. It was great to hear your story, and we were very encouraged by it. So shout out to you, my friend.
Real quick, what I was just talking about, let's go real, Bitcoin right now sitting at 40, got up to 40,800, but now it's back down to 40,000, about 600 or so. Go to my screen real quick. This article right here, Bitcoin bulls need to reclaim 41,000 ahead of Friday. $615 million Bitcoin option expiry. Let me go scroll down to the numbers. Here's where we are. If we are between 39,000 and 41,000, which is what we currently are, that's 950 calls versus 5,400 puts. The net result favors the bear instruments by $180 million. If we can get above 41 million, this isn't a win for the bulls necessarily, but it's a step in the right direction because it limits it down to the favors the bulls 100 million. So what?
You said if we can get above 41 million.
I'm just
Like,
speaking
we're definitely
fast.
not-
41,000.
41 million.
We need 41 million. Everyone invests everything. Okay, 41,042. Again, I think it's kind of a stretch here in the next 8 minutes for us to get above that. But if we can get above 41,000, which we're seeing some little, fight from the bulls there, it will limit that. Only 100 million. Again, if we got above 42, probably not going to happen. It puts it down to 60 million for the Bears win. It would be 43. And remember, that's actually stupid close to what I was talking about. That's funny how that's where the put is, because on a technical standpoint, that also is the level we need to get back to cancel this tertiary bearish movement we've been in that Jebb talked about yesterday. Go back and watch the show if you don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, so we got about 7 minutes now. Jebb, I would say it is, we got 2 minutes where we can officially give you that HODL trophy. But you lucked out, because as we said in the beginning, that if he had said 40,000 or 42,000 even, he would have been safe because he just needs it over 40,000. Because he moved it to 42,500, he had to get it above 40,250, which it was not looking like it was going to get there. But now it is. Again, it's a matter of minutes now before we crown the winner. But unless there's a massive sell-off, it goes back down to Smay. It does look like Jebb is going to win the HODL trophy. Jebb, when was the last time? I think it's been a minute. It's about time.
It's been a minute.
About time that you won the HODL trophy.
It has been a minute. I am looking forward to holding the HODL trophy. And it's 1 minute away, but I'm just going to go ahead and set it right here. It might get stolen from me. You never know. Somebody could come and sell Bitcoin. Hopefully Elon Musk doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
But it looks like we're going to be there.
And everybody, we're the price action is doing some nice stuff right now. We're definitely fighting with that resistance on that downward channel that we're in. So in this next hour, if we close above, let's say 40,600, because that would be the 4 hour candle, and of course the 2 hour and the 1 hour. that could be setting us up for some more bullish movement today. But as it is right now, we've wicked up above it and we're back in that channel. So some movement's happening, but you gotta wait for those candle closures.
Which is great. It's looking very, very encouraging. Let's see. We have
a super chat coming from
10 seconds.
Tom. We'll read the super chat and then again, you're gonna win. Tom Wilkes said, Jebb, if you opened my eyes to a great point. I'll say, Jebb, that wasn't a question. That was a statement. Jebb, you opened my eyes to a great point. I was previously fearful of what Elon could do if he owned Twitter, but to your point, he very well could ensure that social media can be free-ish of the scam artists. I think that's absolutely right, because here's the thing is, if people are like, well, I'm scared of what Elon's going to do with Twitter, well, are we happy with what currently is happening on Twitter? Like, I mean, do we love the current level of control and manipulation and everything else going on there? Yeah. So it's at worst, it's trading one evil for another, but at best, it's like, well,
there's an opportunity.
Yeah,
there's a big opportunity. I tell you what, there's a huge opportunity for the betterment of social media if he does take it over. And I personally think that if he does take it over, it will end up being, it's not going to be perfect, but it will end up being a better system than otherwise. Elon Musk is a very he's a very countercultural person, and I think that he would very much be on the side of being countercultural against modern censorship. He doesn't like it. He's been censored before. He really does not like that. So hopefully he will use that power wisely. By the way, Tom, thank you very much for the signed books. He got us 4 signed copies of books from Safadine Almost, signed by Safadine. He got us 2 copies of the Bitcoin Standard, 1 for Tim and myself, and 2 copies of the Fiat Standard, 1 for Tim and myself. And he also wrote both of us a letter, which I cherish, and I will use it as the bookmark when I'm reading through the Fiat Standard. Thank you very much, Tom. That was a very nice letter that you wrote me, and I read it with my wife because she was actually in office yesterday. You guys didn't see her, but read it with her, and it was really cool. It was really cool. So thank you very much for that, Tom. Looks like I did win the HODL Trophy. Cool beans.
You did win.
Cool
Congratulations.
Beans. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Come on, Smash. Need some help. Yeah. Is there applause? Do we have an applause or it's just laughed? The track.
I knew he was gonna do that. I was literally thinking in my head, somebody's about to hit the crickets. I knew it. Well, guys, it's been a great show. I hope you did enjoy. Make sure to check out I Trust Capital. Link is in the description box down below. And also, don't forget about Token Metrics.
I say, if you want to go to my screen real quick, guys, Token Metrics is one of my new favorite ones. And wrong screen. There we go.
Wrong button.
I don't know why it's on Cardano. It makes it I was looking at Cardano. But this is a super cool tool. Again, especially with my more heavy side in the technical analysis. I do a lot. I try to research and do a lot about fundamentals, about the technology and everything. This is a great tool to help you learn that thing. But this right here, if you go to analytics right here, indices, this tells you right now, because they have a whole system here of what you should be investing in, what you should not. They tell you if you had this portfolio, what your return. So at the moment, I think there's a couple of these are in negative, but again, the crypto market as a whole in the last couple of days has been negative. It would tell you what your return on investment would be. What's really cool, even getting more specific, let's say, for example, I'm just going to do Bitcoin. It will tell you based off of all of their different metrics, and I'll show what just happened to my, there we go. There we go, okay. It'll tell you based off of a lot of different metrics what's happening here. So first of all, right now, and we can confirm this is what we talk about on the show, Bitcoin is not a great one to invest in right now. On the monthly, 62.24, it's kind of good. Anything over 75 is really a great place to buy. Everything below, I think they said 30 is where you're considering selling. So maybe it's saying that Bitcoin's in a spot in daily chart to sell. But it has a lot of different things it measures. Technical analysis, wow, it says technical analysis is really down bad. We kind of talked about that a little bit. There are some bullish points there, but there's some short-term bearish points there. Quantitative, fundamental, technology, it rates them, and it tells you what coins are in a good spot to buy, what coins are not in a good spot to buy. And everybody who has invested and been using this tool since its beginning is 9x their crypto holdings. It is a phenomenal tool, especially if you're new to the space and you're trying to learn how to fundamentally get on board with what's happening. This is the tool that helps you understand what's happening there. I definitely recommend it. Link in the description down below. Again, one of my favorites. Go get it.
Make sure to check out Token Metrics. The link is down below. If you guys enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to follow us on our real social media platforms at CryptoJebb over on Instagram and Twitter, at CryptoJebb Official over on TikTok. Make sure to follow all of these fine gentlemen. You can find their links in the description at Tims_TA, at Smay Nakamoto, and at Kelly Kellum. I do believe all of those are in the All of those are indeed in the description. And also make sure to
Right.
follow T-Shroom. T-Shroom is the writer of a lot of our content, and the video that we did yesterday on Ethereum, which I thought turned out really well. If you want to know where Ethereum is going over the rest of this year, yesterday's video is definitely going to help you out with that. Looks like Bitcoin could drop below the winning price here in the next couple of minutes, so that'd be pretty
I don't know.
funny.
It's still 40,400.
It's at 40,400.
No, I don't. It's not going to make it to 41.
No, probably
Nah,
not.
so the Bears are going to get that $180 million
Yeah, it looks like the Bears are going to see about $180 million
win.
win.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, smash that like button. That's all we got for you today, though. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.